That was quick. Okay, Jim, I think you're on.
Okay, so,
Do you need the mic, Jim?
no, we're just gonna play the video. Maybe. Actually, I'm not sure, we're not gonna play that, that's a 20-minute video, we're not gonna play that. I don't know why we have it, so. Okay, only real updates that we had were, David wanted to make sure everybody knows, we're gonna be escorting members of the media, so they're not gonna just have free range of the area. We'll escort them during daylight hours only in 3 different shifts, and we'll have set up with them ahead of time. They can sign up, and we'll have them, we'll know who's gonna be there and all that. But for anybody else who's on site, if you see a member of the media that's just kind of floating around, you recognize them and they're not being escorted, just bring them to the media tent and we'll get them squared away. The other thing that came out was one of the risk assessment things was weather. So the procedure that's been set up is that the city will contact Norm in the operations tent, then they will notify David and the media team. I'll get on and contact everybody, you know, as necessary. We're gonna have an email sign up for weather notifications specifically. Hopefully by next month we'll have that set up. Basically, if you're already on the newsletter list through the website, you'll automatically get scooped into that. When we set it up, if you want to re-sign up for that, that's fine too. We'll try to make sure that there's not duplicates. But then that way people can get a direct email instead of it having to trickle through, you know, different organizations and stuff. It'll go out that way as well, but hopefully we can reach people directly if we're going to have to shut down for weather or anything like that. And remind people just to, you know, check the news and Facebook and all that kind of thing. David having put this in here, this is on our website. It's about a 20-minute, 30-minute video from a volunteer at the wall in DC. It's a really good video. It's just way too long, obviously, to put here. But if you go on the website, I think I have it on the home page and I forget what other page, maybe the volunteer page. And then we just put together a few little highlights, historical notes. One thing I thought was really interesting I found was that one of the first donors to the actual wall was Grumman Aerospace. Just kind of an interesting little connection there. But I think that's pretty much it.
Jen, do you want to go to that audio clip that we talked about?
Yes.
Okay, the audio clip, this is, we're reviewing this right now, but this is what we're hoping to go public with on the radio station.
Volumes have been written about the Vietnam War. Its heroes, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. American men and women joined together in combat, returned to a country divided by controversy. November 1st through 4th, the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1067, will host a traveling half-scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The Wall That Heals, coming to John Hunt Park in Huntsville, Alabama. The Wall That Heals. Admission is free. Volumes have been written about...
John, I thought it was 3/4 scale.
Yeah, it is. We got it. It's a work in progress. But anyway, the intent is to have that on the radio stations, all local radio stations, so you might be able to hear it. Okay, Jen, back to you.
I think I'm done.
Okay, Laura.
So I'm Laura Ayers. I'll be on site during from the time the wall heads into town to the last child is exited from the event.
And you're going to leave no child.
And I'm going to leave no child behind. That's a good one. My biggest task will be getting every kid back on the proper bus to get it back to school. So there are some challenges with all the students that are coming. Some new events have taken place. Our largest size of students at one time right now is 65 students. That's up from the 40. And the reason is that schools don't want to take one bus, wait 25 minutes to bring a van in. Because that it's too complicated for them to have the continuity. All the facilities have been queried, and we can hold the 65. So that's that update. Next slide. Okay, so the Painted Rock Project. Are y'all familiar with what a painted rock is? It's a rock that students are going to be painting the top of with thank yous. When they go into their community and they write an interview to a veteran, hopefully they will be able to give them a rock. So what we've got right now is I've got 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that have a community project assigned to them. And what they're going to do is they're going to put the Wall That Heals Huntsville, Huntsville, Facebook address on the back. And on the front, they're just going to put the base code color, which will be red, white, or blue. And then we will be presenting these to the schools that are participating in the essay writing contest. That will allow the students to decorate the rock with their own thank you. And when they see a veteran or place them at their grandparents or somebody's tombstone, they'll be there. Now the goal is if you receive a rock, you're supposed to get your picture taken with the rock and paste it to the Wall That Heals Huntsville Facebook page. So what's going on right now is the rocks are being painted, top coat. Now you can keep the rock yourself when it's handed to you, or you can hand it off to someone else and say thank you again. And again, the next person can they can keep it, they can give it away. The main goal is just start getting pictures on the Facebook page. Any questions on the painted rocks? Yes, sir.
Two, really. What's going to motivate the kids to paint this? You know, what's going to draw them in? And let's go with that.
Okay. What draws the kids in is, this is a hot thing going on with kids right now. The painted rocks, you hide them in town and people find them, take a picture with them. Even churches are doing it, okay? So if you have any grandkids, believe me, they know what painted rocks are. So it's just a hot thing. The schools have started asking for the rocks. We're providing them free. The Wall That Heals Huntsville is buying the rocks and are providing it with some pens to the teachers so that the kids can decorate them themselves. Any other questions on the rocks? Hopefully, someone will give you one. Next slide. Okay, so for the bus tours, we are full. However, we have just had one school that they had 257 kids from one school. And the drive time wouldn't allow them to get all their 257 students to the wall, go through the full event, and get back to the school by 3 o'clock. So they had to drop out. So I do have 3 slots available now. I'm gonna hold off on going to the web and turning that back on because I'm lacking City of Huntsville schools. I have schools from Tennessee, from 75 miles away coming. So I have 3. So I want to get the word out into the Huntsville City schools that this event is available to them. On to the next one. So the community projects we have going on with the students include the interviewing a Vietnam veteran, writing up an essay, submitting it. Then the students become eligible to receive some nice trophies. There's a committee forming that'll read those essays, select the best ones, and we will actually present them a really nice trophy. So again, if a student comes up and wants to interview, please share your stories as much as you want to share. Then the other thing we're doing is community involvement ambassadors. ambassadorship programs. There are students that are juniors and seniors who need things to do in the community to put on their resume when they apply for college. So what we've got in several cases is students that are juniors helping 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade teachers with their curriculum and keeping the students motivated. And for that, we will let them have the title of ambassador on their resume when they go out to school. The Boy Scouts are looking into doing some of these, so this is up and coming. It's a lot of activities to come. Next slide. Any questions on education? Yes, sir. We'll start here.
You mentioned 6th, 7th, and 8th grade a moment ago. Is that the 20 classes that are coming to the 20 schools, are they only 6th, 7th, and 8th graders?
No, it goes all the way through to high schools.
What was the reference to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade you made?
There are the buses and the field trips that are coming, but we are also pushing for the same material to be taught throughout the state of Alabama without field trips. So for education, yes, we've got our buses, we've got our 800 plus kids coming through. The next big thing for us that we started working on is to get the curriculum taught in the schools with no field trips. Okay, so, if you're in Birmingham, there could be a senior there that then goes and finds a 6th, 7th, or 8th grade teacher and gets them motivated on it. Yes, sir.
Laura, 2 questions, ma'am. First, for I think you called them ambassadors also, at the wall who are receiving these groups of school kids. 2-part question, what is the demographic, and can this go from 1st grade all the way through 12th? And second, will this number now be up to 65 that one person is walking through?
Okay, we're no longer doing, how do I put it? Yes, let me just put it that way, yes. They could be escorting 65 kids at once.
So be prepared, one person should be prepared to take 65 kids.
Well, no, because you're gonna have the teacher, you're gonna have the parents that are on the field trip. So the students are coming with,
But he or she
you'll be the leader, yes,
is the talking head for a group of 65 people,
yes,
plus,
yes.
including, okay, fine.
Yes.
Okay. And the demographic on,
Who's coming?
yep,
We did have some 6th grade classes. We have 450 students in one school that's coming.
so is that
Yes.
one
But
8 through 12, or is that 6 through 12?
that is 6th grade alone, 450 6th grade. They're their IP history class.
Okay, fine.
And they are coming by buses of 40. We are not grouping them up. The only day that there is a 65 is on November the 2nd, the first shift down. Okay? Everything else is set to 40.
Okay.
Yes,
As
sir.
we go along on this, we're gonna get more fine tune it. You're not gonna get stuck with 65 kids running around. We'll get you additional support, whether it just be some of their adults that come with them, but we'll have, hopefully, if we get enough volunteers, we'll be able to staff the peak periods with additional volunteers tomorrow.
Okay.
So please sign up for volunteers.
So
Just to be
only
clear.
the first one on November the 2nd has the 65. Everything else is 40. We just couldn't break that.
To be clear, I'm not just asking for myself.
Oh, I know.
I'm asking for the Military Heritage Commission will push out a message to all the Hall of Heroes inductees in Madison County, most of whom are Vietnam vets. And I want to have that message to have pretty good information for them about what to expect. Okay.
And we put a link on the education page to your website, so that is additional information the teachers can pull from. Now, that will be occurring statewide,
Sure.
not just Huntsville.
Second question is, in this essay writing bit, how do students find a Vietnam vet? You just hope they know one?
Well, some of the schools already interact with a local Vietnam veteran. Because we're going to the IP history classes, because of who's touring the wall, are more engaged in that community already.
Okay.
So one school I'm working with, they already interact with the Tut fan home and bring them to the school at times.
Okay, Laura?
Thank you.
One other thing, good point there now. Marshall, I'm gonna speak for you too, if you don't mind here. But I'm with the Vietnam Veterans chapter here in town, and Marshall has a North Alabama Vietnam Helicopter Pilots Organization. If anybody needs to get a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, contact one of us, and we can put that, you can put that on your website.
I already have, in fact, it's on the education brochures that are in the back, that I'm coordinating with the teachers that say if you teach it in one day, the core material on the website, if you go to a 2-day, we have veterans.
I mean, you can
Yes.
contact one of us, and we can go out and get our communities at our chapters.
Right. So far, the ones that have signed up,
Also Zig and, I keep forgetting the Air Force guy, Zig, I'm sorry.
so far, the teachers that signed up literally started signing up in March. And that's because one teacher said, my dad's a Vietnam veteran. So a lot of them that have signed up so early are because they already are active in the military community. Any other questions?
Is that school that has 456 graders coming, is that part of the 800 total?
It is part of the 800 total. So,
Are there other schools that can't come because of that large group?
yes, we have one school that had 257 students, but because we were trying to keep it at 40, they couldn't get all the students
Yeah, you
in
mentioned,
and out.
you mentioned that. I mean, what if there's a school that has 40 or 80? They can't come because you're maxed out at 800?
No,
No?
because the 250 students are no longer attending, I had broken those up into just 3 slots. So I have 3 slots available right now of 40.
Right. And you said you're going out to Huntsville City Schools for those.
Well, I'm going to start. The Huntsville City Schools, their superintendent that we coordinated with left before it fully got integrated into the Huntsville City Schools. So they've just now appointed someone, and I will be working with her to get it pushed out. So I have no fear that we'll fill every slot. My fear right now is I'll have another school that says, oh, we're going from 40 to 85. And that gets a little difficult. Yes, sir.
Laura, have you reached out to the homeschoolers?
Oh, yes, we have. We have reached out. They are primarily coming by van, by cars. They're not coming as a field trip. Now, understand, the wall's open 24/7 all 4 days. There is nothing to stop anyone, parent coming with their kids, you know, or a school just showing up. You know, they won't have the reserved parking area. They won't have the private tours. They wouldn't have the electoral information. Okay? I can't stop someone from showing up.
Our experience at the museum is that they will band together maybe 4 or 5 different homeschool groups and come in as a larger group, like 25 to 50.
If they do, I have 3 slots. So if they will,
Plus, we fully expect there's gonna be people showing up that we don't know about.
Correct.
There could be groups, the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever, either schools or we don't. We're gonna adjust fire on that, we'll just have to take it as it comes. And, you know, my Sergeant Major was here 2 meetings ago, I guess, and said they had 30,000 visitors at the wall when it was here the last time. So we fully expect to be inundated, that's why we're begging for people to step up and be volunteers. You know, you may be on one shift and be bored, then the next shift, they may be overburdened, so, just gonna have to work as it comes along, so.
So on education, we have a bus arriving every 25 minutes on November 1st and November 2nd. Every 25 minutes will be 40 kids being dropped off. So, and they start at 8:20, and the last bus has to roll out by 2:45.
And that's on top of all the community around coming in too. We have no idea how many we're gonna be entertaining. So we're also looking at, these other groups, if we get become aware of them, that come in during what we call off-cycle times, after 2:30 in the afternoon to whenever in the evening, Saturday or Sunday. So, if you know of a group, or have a group planning on coming in, and you can come in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon versus during the day, or on Saturday or something, let us know, and we'll set up, host them just like we're doing with the school kids. Okay?
You had a question.
I'm just curious, are you guys taking those flyers, and are they being distributed within the North Alabama schools? Even if some of those students aren't coming on the field trip? Is that
Yes,
what you're communicating
yes.
out?
We've been handing out the education flyers to the students. Some students are interested in history in their own right, and so we've got the QR on the back so that they go right to it.
That goes straight to the app?
It goes straight to the education material that I'm posting. It's on the Walnut Hills Huntsville website under Educators. Once you click on that, all the material's there. Any other questions for education?
Okay, we're at the 1 hour mark, and we try to keep it a little over an hour right now. If you gotta leave, we understand, but we've got a lot of other stuff that's important too, so stay fine. Who's next?
Okay, Zig, you're on.
You guys stay up here. I'm John, I'm gonna need you guys. I'm Zig Stretsky. If you don't remember me, I'm in charge of the 50th anniversary. Use the microphone.
You're on a drill sergeant.
Shall I use a command voice? I've been working with Tom Brown. Does that help?
God help
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Zig Stripsky. I'm working the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. And, in the past, we've had one day at this operation. And we set up for a lecture series. Well, with the education aspects of it, and our community where we have the Veterans Museum and all the other things, we're now up to a 3.5-day operation. And this is an open operation. While we've been concentrating on the education up to now, we're now starting to expand out to our other activities and realize that this operation in the JC building is going to be open from 8 to 6 or 8 to 8 every day out there, plus Sunday. And we're going to have displays there and for history and vehicles, uniforms. Ed Kennedy is bringing over his North Vietnamese mess kits. So you have a lot of things going on over there besides just ideas of lecture series and for the kids. Why don't you hit the slide? One of the elements right now is we're working the interviews with Joe Galloway. There will be 20 of them. We have an initial list of people for those. We're going to be coordinating that list and bringing that list together with background information. The people in Washington, D.C. will be the ones that will be selecting the 20 people. We have over 30 people involved in it right now. I'm going to talk quite a bit today about the high school field trips. But everything we're doing in here is available beyond the high school field trips. There's going to be times when we're going to have docents giving lectures and times to show the orientation of what we have in the building. Go ahead again. This is the current plan to supporting the field trips and other people. It's different than what you've seen before. We discussed that. We've changed the mode of operation to that, where everybody will come in on their time, whichever group. We're going to immediately move them over to the speakers forum and give them about a 5-10 minute orientation of what is in the building, what we have there, and what we're going to show those at that time. We'll have a handout for distribution and have a learning objective for the students, which will have the questions they're supposed to answer for their classes later on. Would you bring up the other
Yeah,
slide?
you keep hitting a button on your thing that.
Oh, I hit it.
Not like that joystick in there.
After the orientation, they'll be cut loose in the building. We'll have security folks around the areas and for the displays and everything else, and we'll have strategically placed docents sitting here to answer questions. So they'll have their sheet to work through the time, and they'll have that time, they can use it how they need to meet their education requirements. We'll be showing all that. At the end of their time that they're there, we'll have an announcement in there and say, bus 3 is now loading. Go out the main exit here, directly to the buses, and load the buses. So we'll have room to handle many, many students in there at a time, but we'll have multiple groups in there, multiple times. And this brings up where we need a few docents in there. Somebody to stand around and answer questions, like what is a Jeep, things like that. So we'll have that type of, out in front, we'll have I'll have Buck 3 sitting out there, and we'll have a 114 from the museum over there. The vehicles down the center, we're looking at now what we can have displayed. We ran into a little bit of a detail problem with bringing vehicles in. The city will not allow us to have anything that is a diesel motor inside the building, nor something with tracks. So bringing down the 114 APC into the building is now out, but we'll have it out in front. We'll have over 20, we'll talk about the banners and how we lay this out. We're going to have a tent in there, it appears right now, of USO, bringing it down. Matter of fact, the USO folks up in Nashville are talking about bringing their vehicle down. I don't have confirmation on that, but that is possible. But we'll have a number of things set up inside the building like that. That'll be also for the luncheon for veterans on Saturday. Well, that's pretty much right. Let me show you what I'm going to go into today, though, mainly, besides how we're going to handle people going in and out. And your question earlier about off time, when you don't have students, this overview orientation, you want to think of, we could run that thing anytime. So you have groups of people at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or 5 o'clock. We can actually show that, tell people what they're doing, what we have in the building, and they can go through that building and have an overview for it. Go ahead and hit slide. We're presently finalizing. Remember, I talked to you in the past about building banners. We're finalizing those banners, and now the history banners to support the education aspect are these listed here. Make sure I hit the right button. Road to War, President Johnson and the build-up in 65-68, the Tet Offensive, Home Front, 64-73, Nixon's Vietnamization, the Easter Offensive in 72, and the aftermath. We were talking about having very large banners on that. We plan to spread the banners on one side of the building out over 100 feet across the building, and then to be separated by individual 2x3 posters with specific subjects. And we'll show you that. Hit this next slide. These are the banner subjects we have looked at right now. And you can see from the draft, troop levels, rolling thunder, riverine operations, military nurses, medical advancements, U.S. servicewomen, African Americans, linebacker operations over the north, U.S. Coast Guard. How many folks here know that the Coast Guard was heavily involved? See? Only about a third of you. Air mobile operations, USO, POWs, American Red Cross. And on the question of donut dollies, we actually have, I think, 2 donut dollies, real ones, here in town. And they've been contacted by Janet. Marino. Major units, military chaplains, and submits. Let me hit the next slide. These are actually what I showed you as examples of what we're talking about as a poster and on the right side and a banner. Now, you, and you, come up here in front.
Yes, sir.
You don't like to serve an Air Force guy.
Everybody grab the end of this. That is a banner. 9 of them. Okay? This is the first one of the Road to War.
Good to be taught.
Okay? Everybody grab a poster here. Here, you come up for it. Remember the one I showed you up there on the right? Flip it over. You got it upside down. Typical educator. Okay, those are posters. Now these posters over here are actually from the 50th folks. We've got full access to all their posters and every other information. So this one is medical advancements. So the idea is we'll have posters laid out, banners laid out, then posters dividing up between them to provide space over 100 foot of wall. So we have a lot of information, and there's a few more to go.
So those will be close enough down where people can go up and read?
Yes.
Yeah, for all us tall people.
Now these, in the building, these will be hanging from the ceiling. They'll be separated with tables, and the tables will have these things mounted like this on them, so they can see right in front of them. The table will provide about a foot or so in front of them so they can't bump into them. If you're doing tripods, they'd knock them all over. And this way they'll actually be supported. So that's what the plan is right now. And these will be available now for people coming in off the education, off the students and tours, say at 5, 6 o'clock at night, or all day Saturday and Sunday. Okay? Everybody have a good idea of what we're doing now?
Good job.
Slide. This is the team who I've been working with. You can hear me back there now. And Tom and Ed, Janet Marino, and Rick Summers. Rick Summers kind of backed out for here recently because of his family thing. Yes, sir.
Is the JC building going to be open to the general public?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's open the whole time.
Is there a way that they will understand that the people that show up at the wall itself, that the public can go to the JC building?
That's what we're working with through the signage and the elements over there for when they come in, that this is open to the public.
Plus, when they come in from the parking lot, there's gonna be a welcome station there with David Fondy and his group with, media guys. They'll provide, Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't you gonna give them a handout?
We should have a handout, plus I'll be posting on, the website, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, as we're getting closer,
We've got the
leading up
digital
what we're
stuff,
gonna have
we a
available.
handout at the site, and the "You Are Here" signs, and so, okay, you're here, there's the education trailer, there's the wall, there's the JC building, and here's what's in each one of them, and there's your museum, if you choose to go down there, we'll have the trolley going down from the JC building to the museum.
Yeah, and also there's going to be some signage on the outside of the building. We talked to Washington. They were supposedly have access to a 30-foot banner for the 50th anniversary. And those type of things are going to be out there too. Plus the helicopter will have to be out there for people to see. Go. Yes, sir.
Museum, what hours is the museum going to be open?
It will be open generally the same hours as the JC building.
Okay.
Which is, I think, 8 to 8.
Yeah. Right now, this may change, but right now our hours for the JC building will be from 8 to 6 on Thursday, 8 to 8 on Friday, 8 to 8 on Saturday, and then 9 to 3 on a Sunday. That's what we're planning at right now. Now, which brings up the issue. Our requirements for volunteers is really for internal security on how we keep people from grabbing displays and pulling. And we're working out some things to separate on that. And also, I have some educated docents there to stand around these history wall and the displays and answer questions. So when somebody asks a question, what does the North Vietnamese mess kit look like? You can go over and show them one over at Kennedy's displays of over 20 some odd tables.
He also has write-ups. The individuals just have to read his supplemental pages.
Yeah, if you remember, back up a couple of weeks, instead of opening up that thing. Next one, back, no, the other way. Yeah, this one. If you remember these bullets on here, these are the educational points across that for the history, which has to equate to now what she is doing for the students. Basically, those are the major bullets, the walkaways you want them to have when people are going through this. They're not going to be able to read everything in 20 minutes and all that, but each one of these banners has a set of bullets on it. And those are the elements of the walkaways.
But you also have write-ups. There's not just this.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of write-ups.
It has a big, thick chunk of material. So that someone sitting in there communicating this with the students have material they can read and pull from.
Now, go ahead, sir.
Quick question, with all the materials that you got, big book and everything, could that be made available to people that may want to request it after the fact?
We're working and thinking about that. We have actually, Dave Carney's even talking about writing a book. It's this type of thing. We're looking at how we're going to bring this together. But effectively, we're putting together the history of Vietnam.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're also keeping the website open through June of next year, I believe it is. So all this stuff will be up. If the teachers don't have this in their curriculum and they want to put it in the December, January timeframe or something like that, they can go into Laura's education site and download this stuff. Call Laura, call us, whatever. So this is not just ending November 4th. We'll do an after-action report and all that stuff. But the website will be open, and we hope we can continue doing the education process and the learning through the website through June of next year, the end of the school year.
Yeah, now one thing about all this material that we're doing, this is not one-time use material. This is all reused material. I did it too. And so for further type of things happen like next May or those, we have all this available. A lot of it's going to go over to the museum. It's going to be stored over there, but it's all useful for other functions. So if you have a function next February for celebrating something, whatever, these things are available then to support that for the Vietnam War.
For those of you that are not familiar with it, the 50th anniversary lecture series and the 50th commemorative stuff in Washington is a 10-year program, and we're in, what, year 6 of it right now?
Going to the
Yeah,
it goes through 23, I guess.
Yeah, so
23.
5, okay, so we've got another 5 years.
Go on.
So a lot of the corporations and stuff around town and different activities have signed up to be partners with the 50th commemorative event stuff. That's 2 things a year that they have to do to kind of recognize Vietnam veterans. If they want to use this stuff, it'll be available. Each year, Chapter 1067 Vietnam Veterans does a what we call Welcome Home. We're trying to transition out of that right now, down at the memorial, unless it's changed by weather. And we'll use some of this stuff. And each year, John has the 50th lecture series, which we've expanded on this year. So this stuff will be used for at least the next 5 years. So we're trying to get the best bang for the bucks and support everybody.
Yes, sir.
Could you elaborate just a little bit more on the speaker forum? Is it going to be a lecture or is it going to be videos? What is the format of that?
Okay, on Saturday, it's going to run very similar to what we've done in the past. There will be a morning speaker, then we'll have the ceremony speakers. We'll have 2 speakers at that time, Joe Galloway and Jimmy Spencer, then have at least 1 afternoon speaker. I have 2 verbal commitments right now. Should I use the name?
Go ahead.
Okay, I have a verbal commitment. We got to reconfirm all this. General Stewart to speak in the morning, and I can't remember seeing that. I met him senior moment. The saw guy who's speaking in the afternoon, and we got a couple of backups that we need to back on it. And then we'll have lunch for the veterans lunch. One of the problems we're having right now is if we have the veterans luncheon like we have in the past, how do we separate the veterans from the masses? And we're kicking around a lot of ideas, and I think we're going to go, one of the ones we're settling on right now, when you saw veterans sign in, either over at the wall or in the front building, we'll give them a Vietnam meal card. Remember those? We'll give them a meal card, and they come in and check in with a meal card.
I think I asked the wrong question. What I'm speaking about is in the JC building.
Yes.
At the speakers forum, hour after hour, what's going on at that speakers forum?
On the schedule. Right now on the schedule, during the day on the 1st and 2nd, we'll be doing orientations for the kids coming through on the field trips. Then we'll periodically do another orientation for anybody else in other groups. If we have a group of people, we might put a schedule together and give them a 10-minute orientation of what's in the JC building to show, give them an overview before they walk around. One of the other alternatives is we'll sit down in the movie and just run either movies or some of the videos we've done with pictures and everything else, just turn that on and let it go in there. So we're looking at things like that. There will always be something going on, let's put it that way. And we've got some clever things going on too about security to keep people out of the displays.
Again, this is a maturing process on what they're doing there too. We'll have more, hopefully by our last meeting here.
Now, next month, we're kind of transitioning from the education side of the house and all this over to what we're putting into the displays, specifically the layout, and I'll talk about more of that next month. And actually, I should have some confirmation on some of the speaking schedule. Anything else? Next.
Thank you, Zig. Next up is our financial expert, Ray Zimmerman.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay, very quickly, next slide, please. This is where we stand with our income. These numbers are always changing. This was as of 2 days ago. Today it's different. This top number is now another $3,600 higher than that. Those are pledges that have come in, which means this number will come down by that $3,600. So the bottom line right now, our balance with pledges is almost $48,000. Next slide, please. And then this is that chart that I try to show you all every month. Basically, right now we are at 85% of our budget. However, there's another number we're reaching for, and it's $75,000 that Brian's working hard to get. So if you consider the $75,000 bogey, right now we're about $22,000 short of that number, less the $3,600 I just added to the money that's come in. So we're in the $15,000, $16,000 range that we really are short of our The initial budget is about to change a little bit. We put this budget together 2 or 3 months ago, knowing that the closer we got to the event, things were going to modify a little bit because you discover more things you want to do. I've received input from all of the core committee members for the updated budget, and I think we're in pretty good shape as long as we get that other $10,000, $15,000. Okay, any questions? I think that, next slide, please. Send money. Send money. Send money. Who's next?
Brian. Thank you, Ray. Brian. Brian's our sponsor lead, and he's responsible for getting all of our monies in there. Thank you, Brian.
You're responsible for herding cats, so. Kudos, call out to Mark Jacobson, who is the only, since our meeting last month, I've only got 2 leads on corporate sponsors. She's leads from 2 people, Mark being one. We're getting down the nut cut. If we don't get the money in the next couple of weeks, then we cut the budgets, and a lot of the stuff you hear about that we spent an hour, all the pretty stuff, all that crap goes away because we got the money to pay for it. So if you know someone at a company, if you have influence, you know, I will do the call up and follow up. You don't have to sell them, but I got to have a name and phone number and an email address to know who to go talk to. You know, frankly, in my opinion, there are a lot of companies here in Huntsville that are missing off the sponsors list who made millions and hundreds of millions of dollars off the backs of veterans. I'll name the companies if you want me to, but I won't call them out in public. But some of them have been around a long time, and I know some of you have friends who have connections into companies that are not on that sponsor list. And so I need those leads. So if you got them, I'm on that big email distribution list John sends out, so you can see my email address. If you can't find it, send it to John. John can find me no matter where I am. Life is about connections, and so I'm asking you for help to make connections. I'll mention a couple of connections. The week that we're doing the wall at Hills, Ditto Landing, I have some connections down there. They're having a big car show. They're going to be putting posters up to let everybody know who comes to the car show, that the wall at Hills is going to be up there. They're also doing something, working with vets to honor veterans in association with that. And the last thing I would say in advertisement, what I did for about 40 years here in Huntsville, I ran a company that, an organization that serves and helps people with disabilities. A lot of folks were veterans with disabilities, and kind of an outspring of that, I have chaired for the last 15 years the city's Transportation Advisory Board, and there are a lot of veterans who depend on public transportation. Just letting you know, to let your veterans groups know if you're connected with that. Towards the end of August, there are going to be 2 public hearings. We have our consultants in town looking at the shuttle and handy ride and all those transportation resources to realign them and see how we can improve services. And so if you know, particularly veterans with disabilities who use public transportation, please let them know those meetings are coming, and we want their input. Last time we did this 6 years ago, we upped ridership by about 32% because we made it much more friendly to use, and therefore people were able to use it. That's what we're looking for, and I'm hoping we're going to get Saturday service out of it. But anyway, that's my advertisement today. But I need your help with phone numbers, email contacts, decision makers who can write checks, because we got to get $12,000. Any questions? Yes, sir.
On the website, is a list of current sponsors listed by category? Presuming there are categories.
There are categories. Our corporate sponsorships, bronze sponsorships are $1,000. Silver sponsorships are $2,500. Gold sponsorships are $5,000. And of course, the title sponsorship was sold initially. Are they on the website? Yes.
As
Of course,
we're getting the logos, we're getting them.
where, what we have to wait for, we have to get from the sponsor their corporate logo. So as we get those, yes, we put them up.
The reason I asked the question, that people going to look there, they see their company's not on there, it might encourage them to cough up the bucks. Additionally, it might encourage employees of the company's not on there to talk with their management about, hey, we should be a part of this. But we can't do it if it's not listed, so we know who's already helped you out.
It's on there, but there's a time lag. For instance, Huntsville Tractor was the last 2,500 that came in. They're probably not on there because we got their check like yesterday, and we got to get their logo in it. So it does take some time, but good point. Any other questions?
Good, thank you, Brian. Okay, last but not least, our Chief of Staff, Pete Fast.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. Again, we're right at an hour and a half. Apologize, but the next one will probably be the same way. We want to keep you informed of everything that's going on. Appreciate your support. In addition to what Brian was saying, we also have a donors page out there. You can go up and be a donor, whether it's $5, $10, $20. That is not being utilized hardly at all. And we've got all these veterans groups here, and especially for us old guys, this is going to be the last time I'll probably ever get to see the wall of town here. So that's what we're trying to get across to the organizations. Guys, come up, donate, and sponsor, not sponsor, but also volunteer. We need the volunteers. We need your expertise in being back in that era of Vietnam to talk about whether it's at the 50th anniversary, helping Zig out, whether it's at the wall, escort the kids or the other people that are coming up, answering questions at the wall, helping them. Please sign up with security. Wherever you have a desire to do it, please sign up. You can sign up multiple times. I know there's guys out there telling me they're gonna be there 24/7, 5 days. If you're my age, you'll never make it. But, anything you can do to help us, we'd appreciate it. Sir?
Oh, quick recommendation. Next time we have a meeting, maybe have a sign up for the donation list here with somebody to write receipts. Maybe some of us will make the donation on the spot.
Okay, we'll get somebody to run the computer out of here and just do it like that.
Jen, can we do
Can we do
that?
that?
Bring a laptop, take credit card.
Jen, raise your hand. Okay, that's the
We'll have
lady.
somebody here, that's a good thing. We do that like at the, our Vietnam Veterans Check 1067. John Mays works with the guys to get the volunteers in. They have sign-up sheets because there's a lot of us, me included, that are not computer smart. Don't talk to Jen about that shit. Agree with me. But they don't want to go in and try to get in the computer to donate or to volunteer. John's helping, John Terry's helping. So if you need anything or anybody needs something, just reach out to all these names that are floating around on the contact list. We'll figure it out. Especially if you got dollars or if you want to volunteer. But again, I'd like to want to see you, ma'am, before you leave. Okay? And thanks for coming. You got any? Oh, Major?
Can I say a few things real quick?
Yeah.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Major Brian Moran. I work for DCMA Huntsville. I'm a friend and fellow brother knight, the Medal of Honor recipient, Mike Rose. So he had asked me to lead the organizations on Redstone Arsenal. So I'll be meeting with all the organizations on Redstone Arsenal over the course of the next couple of weeks, organizing the leadership there and volunteers from Redstone Arsenal to support this effort. So I'd just like to say I'm very honored and humbled to provide this service to you. I'd just like to thank all the Vietnam veterans for their service in Vietnam, for their leadership in the community, and on behalf of all the veterans, I assure you, you're going to get a thank you that you're never going to forget. So I'm honored to be a part of the team. Look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Pete, you're done? Okay, next slide. Okay.
Normally, Brian had to leave. He apologizes for that. If you got any questions for operations, send them to Norm on his email and get them with me or John or somebody like that, okay?
Okay, I will be sending out a copy of the slides. If you do not get one, send me your email. I've got a mailing list now that's like 80 or 90, so if I miss one, please forgive me, but just send me a response and I will get you on the master mailer. So the second bullet is, did you receive a meeting notice? That means yes, you're on my list. If no, send me an email. If you got anything you want to hear about in the next meeting, let us know. And then Pete already hit on, did you sign up to be a volunteer? And our next meeting is Friday, September 14th. Mark the calendar, same time, same place. Our last meeting will be Friday, October 19th, same time, same place. And the wall will arrive in Huntsville hopefully on October 31st. No? 30th, okay. They'll arrive on the 30th. I'll correct that. Thanks, Steve. Okay, any questions before we wrap it up? I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you for taking time off from your busy day. We'll see you next month. You're welcome.